Welcome to the Private Practice Startup, where we inspire you from startup to mastery. We chat with entrepreneurs, experts in the mental health and business arenas, and successful private practitioners to give you the tools needed to make your dream practice a reality. Visit theprivatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, free trainings, and so much more. Here are your hosts, Dr. Kate Campbell and Katie Lemieux. What's up, Startup Nation? We are back again with another awesome episode of the Private Practice Startup Podcast. I am Dr. Kate Campbell, and I'm here with my amazing co-host.
Hey, everybody, it's Katie Lemieux. How you doing?
Yes, she is my business partner, friend, all good things. We are really excited about today's podcast guest. We have Perry Rosenblum, who is the CEO and founder of Brighter Vision. Welcome, Perry.
Thank you so much for having me, ladies. I am so excited to be here today.
Yes, we're really excited to have you here today as well. And we've been collaborating with Perry now with Brighter Vision for some time and really just had such positive interactions with him, with his company, and really believe in what they do at Brighter Vision. So today's topic is going to be 4 tips for growing your private practice using marketing automation. But before we get started, we just wanted to share a few good resources because you guys know we're all about giving value and giving you valuable resources. If you are not already a member of our Facebook group, we have an exclusive insider Facebook group called the Private Practice Startup. So just request to be a part of that group. And there you'll be able to interact with all of our guest experts, ask questions, get tips, private practice hacks, and all sorts of good things. We also want to thank you if you're a first-time listener. We've got a bonus for you. We have the A to Z cheat sheet, which is the essentials for building your private practice. Just text the word essentials in all caps to 44222 to get your copy. And if you're a return visitor to the Private Practice Startup, we so appreciate you as well and look forward to continuing to inspire you from startup to mastery. So Katie, why don't you share a little bit more about Perry?
Sure. So Perry Rosenblum is the CEO and founder of Brighter Vision, the worldwide leader in custom therapist website design. His connection to therapy and therapists runs deep. His mother-in-law owns a private practice in Jacksonville, Florida. His father-in-law is in recovery and just received his 30-year chip. And his uncle, who he had never met, had died at a young age due to drug use. And an heroin epidemic has hit his own hometown very hard. With so many connections to therapy and therapists, he is immensely proud to be able to help support them in their work and enable them to be successful business owners. And so for those of you who may have even actually heard our webinar with Kat Love, is Kate and I hand pick and choose specific companies and people to work with because of their interest and support of mental health professionals. And as you can hear, Perry's story is exactly the same. Is there's a really deep, true connection to his work and why he's so passionate in working with us, mental health professionals. So thank you for that, Perry. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me here today.
Excellent. So you guys know I like to always talk about fun facts. So Perry says his better half is way better. And he has 2 amazingly precious boys, ages 4 and 1.5. He spent 2 summers working in Glacier National Park, and his first business was a website on Glacier National Park, which is actually still around today. Very cool.
Yeah, it is. And I picked probably the worst domain you could ever pick in the history of the world.
Oh, yeah? What was that?
Yeah, so here's a lesson on how to not do things on the internet. The website is glacier-national-park-travel-guide.com.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that may be... That's an epic fail.
But I built it, actually. I bought hosting. This is actually sort of like the beginning of Brighter Vision. I got George Bush's stimulus check. Gosh, it must have been like 12 years ago now. I'm not quite sure. And I think it was more like 10 or 11. But anyways, I took the stimulus check. I bought a year of website hosting, and I created a website on Glacier National Park. And from there, I created a bunch of other websites, and those websites ended up being the funds that were used to eventually launch Brighter Vision years later.
Oh, wow. That's a very unique journey to get to Brighter Vision.
Yeah, I always love hearing like the backstory of things like that. So hopefully that can be inspiring to some people out there.
Yeah, and we know you're coming to us today all the way from Colorado, which is great. And it seems like this is the perfect place to transition into what led you into the business you're in now. Share a little bit about your story with us.
Sure. So I had a number of websites that I still own and operate, mostly centered around the outdoor industry. And I sort of taught myself website design and SEO. From there, I was working in a Boulder-based startup for about 2 years, and eventually I decided, I'm gonna leave this startup and go start my own company. And I started a company called SEO Sherpas. And basically what we did is provided SEO consulting services to businesses across the world. And, we did some website design, and it got to the point where I was having difficulty creating a business. I was very much working in my business. I had one employee working for me, but we couldn't seem to gain any traction and really build it into a thriving business. Our SEO contracts started to dry up, meaning a number of were expiring within the next month or two, and I just couldn't find more business. And so here I am. I have a 4-month-old at the time, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm about to go out of business here. I'm going to have to go get a job again. And at the time, I was in a mastermind with two fellow local businessmen who one was a chiropractor and one was an IT professional. And every week we'd meet and talk about our business. And at that point in time, my mother-in-law needed a new website. So she hired me to do a website for her, and I started looking around at different therapist websites to get inspiration. And I noticed that a lot of the therapist websites looked exactly the same. And I found out that there was sort of this, 600-pound gorilla called therapy sites that had this sort of repeatable, recurring revenue business model where therapists could sign up with therapy sites and get a website through their service for a monthly fee. And I thought that I could build better websites than were being offered there. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to try this out. And I started marketing to therapists this idea that I would build them a fully custom website and charge $59 a month. And, we got a therapist or two signed up with us. The sites didn't look too good because I'm not really a great website designer. My staff is phenomenal, but, they looked good enough. And from there, we marketed to some more therapists and got a few more signing up with us. And it just sort of snowballed from there. First it was 5, then it was 15, then it was 30. And, then we said, okay, well, our clients really need some content for their website. Let's write some content and give them, pre-written content so they can get a website up and running in a short amount of time. So we did that. And, 2.5 years later, here we are with 8 full-time employees, over 1,000 customers, and rocking and rolling and having so much fun doing it.
That's amazing. Congratulations. What a great story.
Thank you.
What would you say is the best advice that you've ever received that relates to being an entrepreneur?
The best advice I've ever received that relates to being an entrepreneur. Knowing your numbers. If you do not know your numbers in a business, you're driving blindly. Your numbers meaning, what is your revenue? How much does it cost you to acquire a new client? How much does it cost you to acquire a new lead? What's your profit margins? All those numbers is sort of a roadmap for you. And so if you're not aware of what your numbers are as a business owner, you're essentially trying to drive to a destination without a map and without knowing where you're going. It's a place you've never been before, and you don't have any directions telling you how to get there. So you need to know your numbers so you can craft a map that will help you get to that location and really, build a thriving business in the kind of thriving business that you want to build, because everyone's map looks different. Everyone's destination looks different.
Great advice. My business coach would always say, you cannot change what you don't measure. And I think that's so crucial. Something that I hadn't done previously, but that is a very important aspect of business. And I know we're going to be talking about, marketing automation today, and even where to put your dollars and cents. Kate and I often talk about Pareto's principle, the rule of 80-20 rule. And so tracking and measuring things, especially when it comes to marketing, is you're going to find where you should be putting your marketing dollars and where you shouldn't be. So it's essential. So great advice, Perry. Love it.
Thank you.
Perfect time to transition into our topic. So let's go ahead with tip number 1.
Sure. So, we're going to be chatting about email lists and marketing automation. So first it might be helpful to define what is a list and what is marketing automation and why is it important. So first, in a list, that's an email list, meaning that people you've done business with, people who have interacted with you, people who have signed up on your website to be a member of an email list such as MailChimp or Infusionsoft. That's what an email list is. Now, marketing automation is using tools to automate the process of your interactions with people who sign up for your list. And there are a variety of tools that can help you with this. And the reason why it's important is marketing automation and email list automation, it allows you to interact with and build relationships with those who sign up for your email list without you having to repeat it each individual time. So if you have 50 people who sign up for an email list every month and you're, manually emailing them various bits of advice, various promotional materials, if you, let's say over the course of a year, you send out 10 different emails to these individuals, well, that's a lot of emails that you have to manually send. Whereas if you're using a tool, a marketing automation tool to automate that interaction, you're still coming across as incredibly genuine, so long as you're wording your emails appropriately. And it's really providing a lot of high value to these individuals, but you're not having to spend the time to do it every single time.
Yes. To send a specific email that's, handcrafted for each individual person would be so time consuming. And email is just another way of building relationships with potential clients, with your current clients, past clients, and to be able to have that set up in the automation process where it's automatically sending those and continuing to nurture the relationship, you can spend your time in other areas.
Absolutely. So to give a good example of marketing automation and how you can use it in your practice. So let's say somebody signs up for your email list, and we'll go into some strategies on increasing the number of people signing up for your email list shortly. But let's say someone signs up for your email list, and let's say that you specialize in, for example, depression counseling and working with women and self-esteem and increasing self-esteem. So the first email you could send off to them would be, hey, my name is Perry. Thank you so much for signing up for my email list. I want to provide you with 2 amazing resources. Here's an amazing resource on depression counseling and 5 signs of depression. And here's an amazing article on daily habits to increase your self-esteem. What you can then do is you can track who clicks on what link. So if somebody clicks on the depression link, you're then aware that they're seeking that kind of information and potentially that kind of help. Whereas someone who clicks on the self-esteem link, you know that they're seeking that kind of treatment and that kind of help. And then what you can do is you can speak to them and craft different emails to be sent at various intervals around those specific topics. So you're speaking directly to their needs. You're providing them with a lot of value and a lot of help just through email and nurturing that relationship so that when they are eventually ready to seek therapy, you've already had that relationship crafted with them virtually. And it's going to make it that much easier for them to contact you because they already know, like, and trust you.
For sure. And I think that's so important. And really, marketing has changed so much, even the past, 10, 6 years, et cetera, that we've been in business. It's crazy. And it's crazy how fast it has changed. And so, this is one of the things, and I don't know that many therapists are on top of this way of marketing. And it does take a long time to really build a relationship. And again, great tip.
And for many therapists, it may seem quite overwhelming to think about creating up this whole automation system. And it does take a lot of time and a lot of thought and a lot of energy to be thinking about connecting with your ideal clients and connecting in a way that they're feeling more drawn to you and really want to continue the relationship. So of course, there's going to be a lot of front end loading with your time here, but in the long run, it's really going to save you so much time and be able to focus more on other areas of your business that you're really passionate about. So what would you say is tip number 2?
Well, definitely have a lot of tips, but first I'd love to chat about some different providers if that's okay.
Yeah, please.
So, there are a variety of different providers that can assist you in growing an email list and providing marketing automation. 3 of the most popular I'm going to go over right now. The first is Infusionsoft. Personally, I've never used Infusionsoft, but from everything I've heard, it's a phenomenal product. The biggest problem with Infusionsoft is it's really pricey. It offers a lot of great services, but it's not the right solution for everyone. And that price is $199 per month. At the other end of the spectrum, you have MailChimp. MailChimp is something that we recommend to almost all of our customers. They have a free plan for just an email list, which is $0. Obviously, $0 is free. But if you want to include marketing automation, then it starts at about $10 a month. MailChimp has a lot of great tools, but their marketing automation, from what I've seen, is not as intuitive. Sort of in the middle of the spectrum is a company called Drip. You can find them at getdrip.com or drip.co. That's who we use here at Brighter Vision. They have a free plan for up to 100 customers. Beyond that, it's $41 a month. And what they do really well is, they're built from the ground up for marketing automation and email list building. So, if you're really interested in getting started with marketing automation, sign up for a free account with Drip. It's really intuitive. You don't need to know how to code or anything. You can just sign up, send your developer or your website person. If you're a Brighter Vision customer, you email us. We take care of it for you. We'll add the sign-up box to your website. They even help you create an initial marketing automation sequence, which is really helpful getting it off the ground.
That's great. We were last year doing some research on the drip marketing campaigns and platforms to see what was going to make the most sense. And we use Constant Contact for our email list, which we are really happy with. And we've been using that for several years now. We actually tried their autoresponder for the drip marketing, and we've set up all of our drip marketing campaigns in there. And we've really liked it so far. It's been it syncs with what we're already doing with Constant Contact. So it's been an easy transition. But ultimately, we hope to move to Entreport later this year.
I've heard great things about Entreport too. I've never given it a shot though. So you're starting to use marketing automation as well in your businesses?
Yes.
Are you starting to see the value of it as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's definitely time consuming setting it all up, but it's so awesome when we keep getting all these opt-ins, and we'll get. Every time we get one, I'm like, yay, there's someone from Colorado. Yay, there's someone from Australia or Greece or, just all over the place. And we know that the drip marketing is set up. And so we don't have to worry about personally responding to them. And so they just go through the drip marketing process that we've set up. And it's really cool. It's exciting.
And, as you're growing a private practice, there are lots of ways to leverage your drip marketing and your marketing automation and your email list. There are ways to grow your practice through it. There's some things you could do. You could segment your list out and offer, for example, a lower price initial consultation. So if you have something called lead score enabled, so if somebody is interacting with your list more and interacting with your website more, they get a higher score for all those interactions. And so you can know that, hey, this person's really, really interested right now. They're really engaged in my materials, but they haven't actually contacted me. So what you could do is you can set up an automation so that when someone hits a certain score, meaning they've interacted with your website and emails to a certain extent, you can set it up so it sends them an automated email that says, hey Jill, I know you signed up to get this free ebook. I hope you've been loving it. I wanted to touch base and offer you a lower price initial consultation to see if, we'd be a good fit together. Are you interested? My normal fee is $150 per session, but we can lower it down to $120 for your initial consultation.
What a great idea, Perry. And I just want to say to our audience, I have a feeling that some of our audience of their Startup Nation is kind of like, what in the heck are these people talking about, right? And so I just want to tell you, Startup Nation, is that you are going to need this podcast no matter what, whether you're just first starting out or whether you're really trying to revamp your marketing services. Take some time, and this might be a podcast where you actually sit down and write things down, because this is really the way of marketing moving forward. And I know that Perry's offering really great advice and great tips, and it might be a little bit overwhelming, but this is so essential. So Perry, I really liked that last bit of advice, is offering something of value at a reduced rate. And so sometimes I think another thing too is create urgency, right? So if you act within the next 3 days, or if you take advantage of this in the next 3 days, I can offer you it at this rate, which really makes people commit and move forward. If it's just kind of like this thing that's out there forever, sometimes people don't want to move forward. So I just wanted to add that to your piece of advice right there.
Certainly. And remember, marketing often gets sort of like marketing sales can get sort of like a bad rap in this industry. Remember, your ultimate goal, it should be twofold if you're in private practice. One is to help people. You want to be helping people. That's why you got into being a mental health professional is to help people. And then two, you need to make a living. You need to build and grow a private practice. And so you need to utilize marketing and sales tactics to help you and help your family, and also then help the people you're trying to help. So by utilizing tools like this, you're giving people more of an opportunity to seek help with you. Because it's really hard to contact a therapist. It's really hard to take that step and start seeking treatment. People will research for, I believe it's up to 2 years before actually contacting a therapist to start seeking professional help. If you make it easier for them, you're going to be able to help more people. And you're also going to be able to help your business.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, Perry, because as therapists, a lot of times they hear marketing or sales and they go, eek. It's almost like the ick factor, like it's a dirty word or something like that. But if you look at it as relationship building, and it's all about positioning yourself that you can be seen and found by the clients that so desperately need your services and that you really want to be working with. So you're actually doing them a disservice by not knowing about marketing and not being comfortable with it, and not knowing about sales and not being comfortable with it. So that's why we're talking about all of this, because it's about positioning yourself online and in the community in the way that your ideal clients are going to be attracted to you, drawn to you, easily find you, and then they'll start to see the value and expertise that you have to offer through this relationship building that you're doing with the email list and automation.
So pop quiz, everybody. When does marketing end? Did you say never? Because you're right. So marketing is so essential to any business, it doesn't matter, is you guys got to get on board with marketing. I hate to tell you that, but it's the truth. And if you're having your own struggles in relationship to money and valuing yourself, you want to listen to our Money Mindset podcast with Dr. Eva Brown. And really there we talk about challenging the certain beliefs that you have about money. So, Perry's just so right on when he's talking about marketing and the value and really, charging for what you're worth. That's so important.
So let's take a moment just to review. Number one, what is an email list and why is it important? And what is marketing automation and why is that important? Number two, we talked about the specific different service providers. How about number three, Perry?
So I guess that would be on how to actually grow a list. There's lots of schools of thought around it. You can use pop-ups on your website, which are an incredibly effective way. So if somebody's to grow a list, so if somebody is on your website for a set amount of time, you can have the screen go a little dark and have a nice pop-up come up that says, are you or a loved one suffering from depression? Here's an ebook on five warning signs of depression. Or, here are you and your significant other experiencing, some trouble, some rocky waters. Here's an ebook on how to reignite that spark, for example. And what that can do is you're giving something of value away to an audience and to this list subscriber, and you're in return getting their email address, so you can begin, marketing to them. So pop-ups are an incredibly effective way, especially when you pair them with a giveaway. Now, the thing that confuses a lot of people is what to give away. Traditionally, over the last 10, 15 years or so with online marketing, the traditional thing to give away is an ebook. Now, I can tell you right now, I have probably downloaded and signed up for 70, 80 ebooks. I can think of one that I've actually opened. And that's the problem with ebooks. They're everywhere. And people don't actually really open them. It's very rare to open an ebook. I'm sure everyone listening here has signed up for a list, gotten an ebook, and just like, whatever, I'll look at that later. And it just disappears. You're not building a relationship by sending an ebook. Contrast that with what is becoming more popular and what I strongly encourage people to do, what we do here at Brighter Vision. Instead of giving away an ebook, take the material you would have in an ebook. You can even take some blog posts you've written, and instead create what's called a drip email sequence. So what you can do is, instead of sending one email with an ebook download, you send a 5-part course on how to ignite that spark. And every day for 5 days, they're going to get an email with you with a different tip on how to ignite that spark again. Or every week they'll get that. And what that does is it builds a relationship. It makes it so that this individual is beginning to know, like, and trust you. They're used to receiving emails from you. You're setting the expectation that, okay, today is Monday. I'm giving you this email. Tomorrow you're going to get this next email on reigniting that spark, or next week you're going to get this email, and you're creating that sense of knowing, liking, and trusting, and building that relationship. Because really, sales, marketing, it's all about building relationships. And a drip email sequence is the best way, in my opinion, to utilize tools such as MailChimp and Drip and Entreport and Infusionsoft to build that relationship, as opposed to just sending off a one-time downloaded ebook where then you'll email them again in a month. They're going to be like, who is this person? I don't even know who this person is. Delete or unsubscribe.
For sure. And so for total transparency, if you guys actually want to see how that works, I know that Kate talked about our A to Z cheat sheet. And so for anyone listening, you can go to our resources tab and download the A to Z cheat sheet. And what will happen is exactly what Perry was describing. So not only are you going to get a great cheat sheet, but you can actually see the structure of the drip marketing. And I'm sure, Perry, maybe you guys have some stuff too that might be of value that you want to share.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go to brightervision.com, in the bottom right, you'll see a tab. It'll pop up after about 20 seconds. It says Get More Clients. We have a 5-part email course on 5 tips to help you get more clients through your website. We also have, if you ever do a search for, private practice marketing or marketing tips for therapists, we have ads that we run that send you to an 8-part email course. And that 8-part email course has some really cool stuff. You can also find it at Reese over on brightervision.com/marketing courses. And this 8-part email course is on 8 unconventional ways to market your private practice. And basically what we're doing is we're taking all of the experience that we've gained here from speaking with over 50 therapists through the Therapist Experience podcast and working with over 1,000 therapists in our time here to craft up the most unique marketing ways or marketing techniques to grow your private practice. One of them, just to give it a little sneak peek here, most people will never guess this. Who do you think professionally is one of the most underutilized professions that you should market with and network with to grow a private practice?
Another pop quiz. I don't know. Startup Nation, what do you think?
I'm like hoping there's a prize and I can't even think of the answer. Go ahead, Perry, give it to us.
People say, it depends on what your niche is. And while yes, that's partially true, what we have found as being one of the most effective networking and marketing strategies is to network with hairdressers.
Wow. Not train conductors? I hear the train in the background.
I know. You guys might hear the train in the background.
Sorry about that. We're about 2 blocks away from a train here, and it loves to go through and just interrupt podcasts.
It's just real life. It's all good.
That's okay. Actually, Amanda Patterson, one of our guests that we had on previously, who was talking.
I love Amanda Patterson.
Yes, we love her too.
And she loves you. She gives you guys accolades for sure.
Yeah. So, lots of love to go around, right? So she was on our podcast. I think she's podcast episode number 5, talking about how to grow your practice using social media. And she was talking about one of the most interesting and unique strategies that worked for her with marketing is talking to her hairdresser about her services and passions and what she does. And she talks her up to all of her clients. So is that the person who you heard of the hairdresser from?
That was one of many.
That's so funny.
Definitely. I think Amanda was probably one of the first that had shared that with me.
Yeah.
I know we interviewed her on the Therapist Experience also. She has a phenomenal business down in Broward County, Florida.
Yep, that's in our neck of the woods. So let's get to number 4, Perry. What's tip number 4?
So tip number 4 is sort of, swinging back around to, nurturing your email list relationships to grow your practice. So, we spoke about offering a lower priced initial consultation. Some other things that you can do as you really start getting, in depth with growing your private practice. What we see a lot of therapists doing, there's sort of 3 ways you can take a private practice. And there's diversity in them and different paths you can take in them, but three ways that we generally see. One, you're a solopreneur, gonna stick as a solopreneur and just offer your services to clients that come in and pay on a session rate. 2, you can hire additional therapists and grow a group practice. Or 3, you can stay a solopreneur and begin selling additional services to leverage your time and generate additional revenue. And lots of people have a mix of 1 and 3, or 2 and 3, and 2 and 1. But those are sort of, generally speaking, some effective, clear, paths that people end up taking. So selling products is an incredible way to leverage your time and your expertise and generate more revenue from your private practice. And by utilizing marketing automation and an email list and segmenting that list out based off of actions that they take through the emails you send them, you're going to be able to figure out, what kinds of products you should develop or courses you can develop to sell to these individuals. Then you can also be selling, nationwide, for example, an online course on going back to the 5 ways to ignite the spark. You could sell a course on your expertise, a video course, and create an immense value and sell that for $199, $299. And that people who have signed up for your email list and interacted with you are potentially really great customers for this. So that's probably the last tip I have on that there.
And thank you so much for that. I mean, creating massive passive income is really important. There's so much, I feel like every podcast we could talk forever about so many things. Like, I'm getting so excited about all these ideas and I just want to talk more, but we really try to keep our podcast to a certain time where people can listen to us in the car, or maybe if it's 2 trips in the car. So we're going to have to wrap up, but we really appreciate these 4 tips. And of course, Perry, we're super excited. We would love to talk more about it, but what do you most hope that our listeners take away from your message today?
That marketing is about relationships. Sales is about relationships. If you can put tools and utilize tools in your private practice that allow you to develop more relationships and better relationships with less time, you're going to be able to help yourself and help more people. So give it a shot. If you want to sign up with MailChimp, $10 a month to give it a shot, see how it works for you. It's not for everyone, but it is a really effective marketing tool that I think is being very underutilized in our industry these days.
100%.
And you've given so many tips and resources and great providers. So we'll make sure to include all of those links on our show notes page for you guys, Startup Nation.
Right. And so I know you had mentioned kind of one of the opt-ins that you have, and that sounds like great, free, valuable content. So we'll put that on the show notes. And I know that, we collectively have a giveaway. So for those of you who don't have a website, or maybe you want to update your website, we encourage you to go to brightervision.com/try/startup. And if you check out Brighter Vision and you want to work with them, by going through the private practice startup, you'll get actually your first month free. And so you'll use the code startup. And, just to kind of give Perry and his gang there a shout out, is we have had several folks work with Brighter Vision, and really, honestly, guys, all great results, all great comments. Kate and I have had extensive talks with Perry and his team, and their system is really pristine. They can get you your website up in as little as 1 to 3 weeks. So we highly encourage you guys to check them out if you are thinking about creating your website or if you're revising your website. So Perry, I want to say thank you so much for being on the podcast today. And Startup Nation, we had a great time. We could just get so excited and talk about this topic forever. And so make sure you check out the show notes page for all the tips, resources, and links from today's show. We thank you so much for being our listeners and really value your input. And hey, Startup Nation, we really encourage you, if you haven't done so yet, we would love for you to subscribe, rate, and review. Why is it important to review? Because, if you guys find this as a valuable information, we want you to spread the word, and by your testimonial, your review on iTunes or wherever, this really lets other people know, hey, you should be really listening to this. So share with your friends, fellow colleagues. Don't forget the bonuses that we offered earlier. And we want to say thanks for being with us today. And we hope to continue to inspire you from startup to mastery.
Thanks for having me, ladies. It was a blast.
Thanks, Perry. We really enjoyed it. Catch you later, Startup Nation.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on The Private Practice Startup. Visit theprivatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, free trainings, attorney-approved private practice paperwork, and so much more.